The one area of Magic the Gathering that players still control? The reserve list. Today's video is a Hot 10 reserve list video, the hottest selling cards on the reserve list. But in some ways, this conversation today is more than that. It's more than just the hottest selling cards from number 10 to number 1. It's also what is happening out there in the market. Whenever somebody buys a new Magic the Gathering product, be it Aftermath, Phyrexia, all will be one, all the way through to even Onslaught, all those products can be and will be reprinted at Wizards of the Coast's whim whenever they decide to do it. So any player who buys extra copies, trying to make a profit, trying to flip some cards over because they were smart enough to hold some, are always in a race against time to sell the product before it gets reprinted. There are many great examples over the years of cards like this being reprinted and people getting slaughtered by a reprint, losing 50 to 90% of their value. And you know what? They didn't control the market, so it's not anybody's fault. Wizards of the Coast is going to make money. And those players knew the risks when they jumped in buying those products. But the area that is still controlled by the player base, still defended as the last guardhouse, it is the reserve list. No matter how you love it or hate it, it is the last castle standing. Behind those gates are the 572 cards that Wizards of the Coast can't touch. Many of them are junk and nobody wants to have them anyway. But for any player out there who wants to own their little slice of the reserve list, all they need is a few bucks. Some cards are as low as $1. And yes, there could be hundreds of thousands of copies available of that card. But I know players who own 1% of a print run. Other players own 1/100th of a percent. They're just doing it for fun. They like the idea of owning as many cards that can't be reprinted. Some people are actually trying to collect all 572 cards. But it's up to the players. Wizards of the Coast has been told to stay away. When you look at the 30th anniversary, when you look at Collector's Edition, from the vault when it got reprinted, they brought Karn around again. They gave us the Mox Diamond. The players who collect reserve list cards rose up and they said, no. We don't like what you're doing here. Step away. This is our area. You said you wouldn't reprint it. Walk away. And that's why so many players who are not reserve list collectors are having problems, issues. Call it a lack of faith in the company. But either way, you know those cards are getting reprinted. It's a horrible feeling for the players who see their value slashed each and every time something gets reprinted. But for those who collect the reserve list, whether it's a Gaia's Cradle, a Serra Sanctum, maybe it's your first dual land and you went for a plateau and you spent the $300 to get one and you feel like, I can't believe I spent that much money on a single land. By today's standards, that's a couple of Sheoldreds and a Ragavan. Remember where the prices are and remember where the strength lies, and that is the reserve list. That area that can't be touched. It's that area of the playground where you're not allowed to cross the line. You're not allowed to play in that sandbox. You got to stay out. And that's what Wizards has to do. But anyway, I want you guys to think about that because controlling the market of the reserve list is a very easy thing to do. It just takes a few dollars each and every month and a little bit of dedication. And before you know it, you've got yourself a large position. You've done it in an underhanded way where nobody saw it coming and you bought cards for $1 or $1.50 each. Sometimes they're as low as 30 cents depending on which card you're going after. Guys, here we go. We're taking a look at the hottest selling cards in Magic on the reserve list from number 10 to number 1. These are your Hot 10. Starting out at number 10 this week is Savannah Revised Edition. Now with an average price of $348.50, the market price of $343.78, €228.95 to get this card into your house. Guess what? It still had 39 sales this week. That's right, this card refuses to quit. And as with many of the dual lands, these prices here for the near mint are not the ones that players are seeking out. They are going for the moderate to heavily played copies and spending half of this amount. They're spending the $200, the $180, $190s to get themselves this card. And that just shows you how much players still desire it and want to get it into those Commander decks. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at number 9 this week. And that is still Sildevy Excavations hanging into the hot 10 with 40 sales this week. The average price is slipping and it's down to $38.97 is your average. The market price is $22.98, and of course it's €12.86 to get this card into your house. Now, for those who don't know, yeah, this card's kind of a big thing on our channel. I love buying this card, and we had a recent buyout a couple of weeks ago there. When Sildevy Excavations comes into play, sacrifice an untapped island or bury Sildevy Excavations. Tap and add 1 blue and 1 generic to your mana pool. Or you can tap 1 and tap Sildevy. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom of your library. An amazing card to add, and no, it doesn't see tons of Commander play, but it's in every single blue Commander deck that I built. I can't help myself. Love the card. Love what it does. Let's go ahead and take a look at the number 7 card this week, and that is Didgeridoo with 47 sales this week. Average price has been trending upward at $18.23. The market price is $16.97. €14.44 to get this card to your house. Definitely good to secure this card if you don't own one, because I still say you never know what's going to happen with these tribal decks, and a lot of fun can come around when you least expect it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the number 7 card this week, and that is going to be Khajoran Outpost, and that's from Alliances with 50 sales this week. The average cost is $17.22 US. The market price is $15.86, and it's €9.21 to get this card into your house. For a little kind of creature creation, this is a great card to have around. You feel like you're being evil on the watch. You're like sitting there. I feel like when I look at this now, it kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones. It's hanging over there. You're looking over the wall, right? Khajoran Outpost comes into play. Sacrifice a plains or bury the Khajoran Outpost. You can tap to add 1 white to your mana pool, or you can tap 1 white, 1 other, and tap the Outpost and create a 1/1 soldier token. And as we all know, with March of the Machines, Phyrexia all will be 1. Soldiers have become very prominent again, which means cards like this are going to see a continued uptake in price, as well as the sales volumes growing. Players going after these are hitting the near mint copies because they're at a very affordable price point. So way to go, guys. That's your number 7. Now let's hop on down to number 6. And it is a card that I mentioned in the card watch videos this week, where I tell you guys some cards you should be paying attention to because of the pricing. And this is one of them. Thawing Glaciers, again from Alliances. This card had 58 sales this week, with an average price of $22.71 US. The market price is $20.99 US. €15.13 to get this card into your house. Here in Canada, you're actually looking around $25. It's still a very affordable card. And guys, if you didn't know, this is great in your landfall deck. There's lots of ways of triggering this card off. You can just go back a few days and watch my card watch video to get a real uptake on some of the ways of abusing this card and really making it work for you in a Commander deck. I had a lot of fun doing that video. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at your number 5 card this week, and that is Elvish Farmer from Fallen Empires. A very unusual card to see jump to 64 sales this week. It has an average price of $5 US. The market price is $5.32 US. And of course, it's €4.08 to get this card into your house. When we take a closer look at the Elvish Farmer, it does say Summon Elf. It is 1 green, 1 generic, and it says, during your upkeep, put a spore counter on the Elvish Farmer. Remove 3 spore counters from Elvish Farmer and put a Sporling into play. Treat this as a 1/1 green creature. Sacrifice a Sporling and you can gain 2 life. So with all kinds of ways of getting tokens put into play, all kinds of ways of generating these counters, which there are a very wide-ranging way of doing it, this card had a whole bunch of sales. I'm not quite sure why it happened. Yes, I am. We all know I know why it happened. Because we did it on my live stream. This card was on the wheel. We spun it. We said, hey, it's for a couple of bucks. Let's buy this copy. And the few people on the channel jumped in and we all bought this card for fun. And that's what happens. It shows market control can be attained with a very small outlay of cash by a few dedicated people. Way to go, guys. We had some fun with that card, didn't we? Elvish Farmer. All right, number 4, guys. Number 4 is Rainbow Veil. It is still hanging in there from Fallen Empires. 80 sales this week. Average price, $7.57 US. Now, I think the all-time high for this was around $19.99, so it's still a long ways off, but it has had continued growth in sales. Although the market hasn't reacted yet, the people buying are not buying the high-end copies, but they're buying lots of these lightly played and moderately played copies that are below the market price, which is why MTG Stocks here isn't really catching up on that. It's interesting to watch this stuff play out. The market price is $7.39 US, €7.88 to get this card into your house. And for those who didn't know, here's a close-up shot of the card. All right, guys, it says tap and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Control of the Rainbow Veil passes to an opponent at the end of turn. This can be very politically well used when you're inside a commander game. I usually just find ways of destroying the land and bringing it back or unsummoning it, but that's just for me an amazing card either way. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number 3 card this week, and that is going to be the Triangle of War with 90 sales this week still. It was on last week and it's back on again and still holding strong. All right, guys, the average price for this card is $4.58 US. The market price, $3.35 US. €2.22 to get this card in your house. On TCG Player, this card was as little as $1. So if you were on my channel and deciding to buy any card that you see on the list this week, any card you wanted to buy at all, if you click on my affiliate link, that's right, this is the time I get to shill for myself since we're an unsponsored channel. Anytime you click on my affiliate link that takes you to TCG Player and you do your shopping experience, I get a kickback on the channel of 3.5% of anything you spend, guys. I really appreciate those who take the time to do it, and that's what's happening with Triangle of War. This is a 1 casting cost generic artifact. It can go into any deck, but look at what the card does. It'll help you understand why it actually is not a bad card. 2, sacrifice the Triangle of War. Choose target creature you control and a target creature an opponent controls. Each creature deals an amount of damage equal to its power to the other. I've seen this used very effectively with regeneration decks, the counter decks that bring things back to life. Guys, it's a great card as well, just for clearing the board or a threat level when you're in a commander game. An amazing card for $1. You can find these still moderately played for like $1.25, so it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get your hands on this reserve list card. But this was your number 3. We are now jumping down to number 2, and that is Jester's Mask with 92 sales this week. That's right, this is another card that happened on the channel on the live stream. We are having some fun. This card was only a couple of bucks, and let's take a closer look at what this card does. 92 sales, average price of $4.83, market price of $4.53. It's been around the $20 mark, and now we have it as a closer look. 5 generic. Comes into play tapped, but of course there's lots of ways to untap artifacts when they come into play. 1, sacrifice Jester's Mask to look through target opponent's hand and library. Give that player a new hand of as many cards as he or she had before. Reshuffle the remaining cards afterwards. Whew, guys. You can do some crazy stuff with this. Amulet of Vigor comes into play untapped. Trigger it right away. Give her an opponent in Commander the perfect hand. Playing in a Vintage Legacy deck, giving your opponent all lands, all super high casting cost stuff. It could be so much fun playing with this card. A lot of people always remember the Jester's Cap, but the Jester's Mask could just be so brutal when used appropriately, and let's not forget, you can keep doing it. There's ways of bringing these cards back nowadays. Recursion is so easy to do. But this is it, guys. You've waited long enough. We are going down to the number 1 card with the Moxman today, and here it is, Thrall Champion. One of the cards of the channel, 112 sales, because let's face it, it was on for $1.50 to $2 on TCG Player, which means it takes no effort to buy cards like this. And there are cards that work with this as well. Don't forget that. If you stick around to the post-credit, I'm going to share a little trick of the trade with you if you want to use the Thrall Champion effectively. Now, the average price is $4.18. The market price is $4.30. It's been as high as around $11. And when you look at the Thrall Champion, it says 1 black, 4 other. It's a 2/2. All Thralls get +1/+1, which means it gives itself a +1/+1. It's actually a 3/3. Take control of target Thrall. You lose control of target Thrall if Thrall Champion leaves play, or if you lose control of Thrall Champion. So, if something goes wrong, you lose it, sure. But I want you to think about this card now. And think about Thralls. Alright? Guys, I hope you get it. Alright, let's click this off here. Okay. So that is your hot 10. 112 sales. These sales are much higher than normal. And there's reasons behind that go far beyond if you like the reserve list or don't like it. It's the fact it's an area of the market that we can actually still control as an unregulated market without Wizards of the Coast touching it, without them putting their sticky fingers in it and ruining it for everyone who wants to have a good time, play with some fun cards, or just collect things knowing they won't come around again. That's just the way it's going to be for a long time to come. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and maybe you'll stick around to the end. We'll find out soon. Have a great day today, guys. Thanks for hanging out and allowing me to entertain you. And if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. Join the fun, because we are going to be here forever. And of course, never forget that moment in time when you realize that the reason this channel exists, the reason this content gets created every single day, is because of the fabulous patrons on this channel. Patrons rock! So you're curious and you stuck around to the end of the video? Well, here you go. This is the Image Crafter. It's a 1/1 for 1. It's very simple, but look what it does. It says, tap it. Choose a creature type other than legend or wall. Target creature's type becomes that until end of turn. Turning somebody's big giant dragon into a thrall until end of turn, and then taking control of that thrall for the rest of the game is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I gotta say, it's a great combination. You can do this in lots of ways. Anyway, just wanted to share it with you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for making it to the end. And little Necronomicon in the comments section doesn't hurt, let me tell you. Guys, have an awesome day today. Thanks for being here with the Mox Man. Enjoy the day.